All right. Hello, everybody. So today is going to be our second Cognos Analytics session. And here's tonight's agenda. We're going to be talking about the dashboards, the stories, and I'm going to show you how you will use the Cognos Analytics for your last assignment, which is going to be the group work. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, as you may recall, we were working with claims and weather data, right? So here is a screenshot of the data module, and the data tracks the customer information, the country and state the customer is from, and then the vehicle information and the claim information. And we use that to predict or estimate the total claim amount. So that was the data, right? So this is a screenshot. You will have to do your assignment for is a similar format. You will have to show the screenshot of your data. Then you have to discuss some of the filters that were applied, right? And this is what I'm doing here. This is just a reminder of what we did. We handled the missing values, right? And the way we handled it, we removed all records that were missing the effective to date, right? Because most of these records were missing other fields, right? Other data. Then we define the selectable filter that filters out a personal policy for the small vehicle, right? So that's the filters that we could turn on and off. We replaced the missing income values with the column average. Then we did the same for the monthly premium, right? And then if the claim reason was missing, we replaced it with other. And I believe that was done in one of the videos, right? So this is just a quick recap. And we looked at the data group, such as number of policies, right? Instead of actual number, we binned, right? We defined the binning. This is nothing but review so far. Now, what we have not done before. If you look at this data exploration, let's go back. And hopefully you guys can see my screen, right? Yes, you should. Okay. Now, let's look at the data exploration, claims and weather data exploration. So what you see here is a bunch of cards, right? But there is no way to see the relationship between those cards. So I cannot go in and select one data point in a card and have the same data point to be selected on other cards, right? There is no way to do that. I cannot add any widgets to it. I cannot add any links. I cannot add any text, anything of that nature, right? Another thing that you cannot do is that you cannot change the color codes. Like, see, this is, for example, is a visualization. You cannot change the colors. You cannot adjust the appearance. Mainly, the purpose of data exploration workbook was to just get the insight. But it's not something that you're going to present to your colleagues or to your manager. So that's setting up the stage for dashboards. What is a dashboard? We create them to present insights, and we can organize the visualizations in attractive layout, right, among the tabs, and we can change the properties. Then and I'll show you what I mean by the visualization on the same tab are linked if they use the same data source, right? So you might add widgets, you may add text, you may reuse the visualization from the exploration and from other dashboards. Then the dashboards have edit mode and a view mode, right? And then, well, you may create calculations, you may create, you may use built-in assistant. So there are some similarities between the explorations and dashboards, but one thing you want to keep in mind is that if you add the calculation in a dashboard instead of data module, that calculation won't be available in another dashboard or another story where you're using the same data module as a source. So to make sure that the calculations are usable, you're going to define them where in the data module, right? Calculations, hierarchy, etc. And I'll show you how to reuse visualizations. But now I'm gonna show you how to create the new dashboard. So data source for the new dashboard can be data module. That's the best way to do it. So let's close this. Let's exit data Now, so here, remember this is a claims and weather data module that we created last time. So what I'm gonna do right now, well, there is more than one way to do it. I'm gonna click here on the actions menu and I can click create dashboard. Alternatively, if this is something that I did not access recently, I could go to my content and then I can find claims and weather data module. It's here. And this is called the action menu, right? From action menu, I can say create dashboard, right? So this is this step. Now, there are two types of dashboards. We're going to be looking at the top dashboards in this course. In general, you can have an infographic. The difference is that infographic is a long page with visualizations, right? Visualizations are not broken into tabs. For top dashboard, the advantage is that you can apply the filter only to the single tab, or you can apply the filter to all tabs. You might group visualization based on a certain, let's say, aspect, right, of analysis, so to speak, right? But this both tabs and infographics have something in common. You may add calculations, you may define different properties, and I spelled that out, for you, the stuff on another slide. So they're both interactive, and they're predefined templates, and I'll show you what the templates are. So here I spelled that out for you. There are different templates. There is a free-form template, and there are the out-of-the-box templates. The whole idea of out-of-the-box templates is that the visualizations will adjust, they will resize based on your monitor size, right? And this one, freeform, it does not scale, right? So you want to use this ones, right? Where the area is divided into sections, but there are many choices, but to tell you the truth, I like this one, 2x2, because the more stuff you try to put in, the harder it is to read, and the longer it could take to load. So this is a layout is tabbed. Each tab can have a different template. You may have different templates on each tab. But for the first tab, let's select 2x2 guy, and we're gonna click OK. Now take a look at this interface. What do we have in here? We didn't define any navigation path in the data module. The navigation path that we created in the data exploration last time is not available because we didn't create it in the data module, right? But what we see here is the claims and weather data module. In here, those as a list of columns, and similarly to the exploration, each column has a different icon based on the data type of that column, right? So what you need to do is you need to save the work, always save the work. So I'm gonna say this, it's here, save as, and I'm gonna save it in my content, and I'm gonna say it as, let's say, insurance dashboard, right? You want to use the descriptive name because as you keep going, you're gonna have more files, right? If you don't remember what you called it, it's gonna be harder. Okay, insurance dashboard. I'm gonna click on save, and I'm saving it where in my content, right? So here is, we have 2x2, right? This area is where you define the filters, and this area can be closed, open, closed, right? So another thing is that the dashboard can have two modes, edit mode and preview mode. Edit mode is when you actually able to edit, right? And preview mode when you pretend that you are a user and you want to see what the user can see, right? So now we're going to talk about different ways to add visualizations and to customize them, right? So sometimes I go with slides, sometimes I go without. But here, what I did was I spelled out what you see here, right? I spelled out what you see. Now we're going to look a little bit at the properties. So the properties that you see depend on what you're currently looking at. So here it is. This is the properties. And now I have not added any visualizations. I'm looking at the overall properties of my dashboard. Like for instance, I can change the properties of my tabs, right? So I want to change the title color perhaps, and I can make it red. And then this is a selection indicator color. So I can change it to green perhaps, right? So those are the different properties that you want to play with. If you want to show the grid, if you want to snap the grid, and etc. Right? So this is just basically the properties and the screen size, etc. Okay. Now, so this is a one tab, and I can add another tab, right? Suppose that you added the tab, and at some point you don't like the layout that you chose. Not a problem. You can just click here, right? So here, this is going to be, this will let you edit the tab title. And here you may duplicate the tab, and here this is allows you to change the template, right? So if you don't like the template that you selected, you may always change it, right? So I've got two tabs right now. I need to show you how to add visualizations. I believe this is next. And there are multiple ways to add visualizations. So here I'm spelling out the dashboard properties that I just showed you, right? The layout and positioning. Now I'm gonna show you how to add the visualizations. First of all, do you remember there is a little guy called assistant, right? Remember we used it last time, and I created a video about the assistant. So if I don't remember what my data name is this, right? I type data. Here is the name of the data set, right? Here are my columns. And what I could do is I could just go here and I can just reuse any of the visualizations. So see, this is a total claim amount. Now I want to see total claim amount and monthly premium. See this? So I've got the visualizations here. And what I would do is I can just take that and I can drag and drop here. But watch what I'm doing. You want to hover your mouse over this blue arrow. That way, this visualization will take the size of this little slot in the template. See this? You need to hover your mouse over this. See this? Now, I see a little problem in here. Take a look at this total claim amount. It's showing the sum. And what do we want to look at? We probably want to look at an average, right? So how do we fix it? There are multiple ways to do it. So if I go in here, see this? Those are called the data slots, right? So here is my total claim amount. I can go in here and I can change the summarize, and I can change this to average. Now, the problem is that this change will apply only to this visualization, right? It will apply only to this visualization. If I want this to apply to all visualizations in this dashboard, I would have to go to here. I have to find the total claim amount. And what I'm gonna do, I can go to properties, and I need to find the aggregation. Instead of total, I want to choose the average. See this? That's it. So that will be done. However, the change that you just made will be applicable only to this dashboard, okay? If I wanted this change to be applicable across the board to all dashboards, all stories, I would have to change it where? You know the answer in the data module, right? So now I'm gonna go ahead and save it. And if it's not saved, you're gonna see a little asterisk in here. So this is one way to add visualization. Another way to add visualizations is just to add visualizations. You go in here, click on visualization, and you just go in and add this. Like for example, I'm adding a pie chart here, right? So you remember this, if you have this little star, right? It means that this, you have to specify something, right? This is required, or you won't be able to see, the visualization, right? So what I want to visualize here, I want to count the number of customers. So my slice size is going to be the customer. And what do I want to do it? Let's say I want to do it by the state. I want to do the number of customers by state. Oh, percentage, but I'll show you how to get the percentage. There we go. Right, so here we have the pie chart. Now we can change the properties of the pie chart. So I'm gonna go here, right? I selected it. I click on the properties. Notice that available properties are different now than from what we saw before because it's a different visualization. So I can go here. This is a chart. Now I have this selected, show value labels. I want to see the percentages. See this? Now instead of numbers, it's going to display percentages. I cannot see it right now because I have to do a little housekeeping here. I have to close this panel. So now I can see that. See, it's showing me the percentage of customers in each state, right? Then I can further change the appearance. This is the radius. So it's going to show me the chart like a donut right now, right? And etc. You can just play around and you can add the title and you can change the font color, the fill color. So I believe this is the fill color of the background. Yes, and you can add the border if you like, right? So this is gonna add the border, and then you can decide to show title. And here you edit your title, like number of, or rather, let's say percentage of customers, right? Per state. Oh, something like that. Okay, so this is your title. Now notice this little text bar. This is where you can change the properties of the title, such as font, color, and etc. Right? You can also do the same change in here, text details, whatever you feel the most comfortable with. All right, so this is another way to add visualization. Now let's go ahead and save it. Now you might be wondering that on your last assignment you spent a lot of time on doing the data model, right? You've been doing the decision tree and you want to show it here. Well, no problem. This is what you can do is, first we're gonna go back to the welcome page. I'm going back to the welcome page. Now what I can do, see this is my data exploration, right? I'm gonna go back to data exploration and I have this right here. This is my driver analysis and this is my decision tree. I want to reuse my decision tree in the current dashboard. So this is what you can do. You can add this as a pin, and I have a detailed video on how to search pins, how to use them. So here it is. I'm gonna pin it. Pin is sort of like a favorite or like a bookmark, if you will. So then see this as a pins. This is what you have added here in the pins, and you may reuse them in other workbooks, you may use it in another dashboard, in the dashboards or in the stories. Now, in addition to this visualization, I can go to explorations and I can add another one. This is another one, another visualizations customers across the state code. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pin this also, right? I'm gonna pin this also. Here we go. So now what I'll do is I'm going to go back to my dashboard, right? I'm gonna go back to my dashboard. And what you will see here is this. If I go to pins, I can just take this guy here and drag and drop. Easy, right? I can just drag and drop, that's it. Nothing else. Or I can also put something on my second tab. So let's put decision tree on the second tab. That's it. So this is what you're gonna do with the visualizations that you created for assignment 3 to reuse them in assignment 4. You're gonna add pins. And in another video, I'm showing you how to run the search because this time you can have multiple pins, right? So you can search you can filter by the date when you edit, you can etc. right? And you can search by the pin, by the name, right? For example, total, right? I can put total, right? You may reuse pins between visualizations between dashboards, stories, etc. But one thing to keep in mind is that it may lose some properties. So if I was going to pin any visualization here, like this here, this one, this pie chart, if I was going to reuse this visualization inside my exploration, I'm going to lose my customizations because those customizations are not available in the exploration. So that's something for you to keep in mind if you're reusing visualizations back and forth. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and save this. Now, what also you could do, I showed you how to add visualizations via pins. I showed you how to add visualizations from very scratch, right? You could also do this. Oh, notice what happened. Why did this get copied? Because I had this visualization. This visualization comes from where? From exploration, right? And exploration has navigation path defined. So navigation path was copied over here. Well, it happened because I'm using the same data source to build both data exploration and this data module. So navigation path that I defined was copied over, okay? Now, here, what you could also do is this. So, this is visualizations, and this is the data, right? This is how you see the fields. And I can find my state code and drag and drop. It's gonna show me the map. I think it's just gonna show me the map. There we go. It just shows the map, nothing else. Nothing else visualized. But I could edit this, and I intentionally want to show perhaps the number of, I can show the number of customers, right? For the location color, I can do the number of customers, okay? Location color is based on number of customers. So I have this, right? Now I can go to my second tab, and I'm doing it for the multiple reasons. I'm adding multiple visualizations here, right? So, and notice that anything that you put into assistant is still safe unless you do what? Unless you delete it, right? So here I can also look at my other columns, such as the state, right? Or I can look at the employment status. So this, I click on employment status, and I can go here, employment status and income, and I can drag and drop more, right? But again, the problem is that I did not change the sum here, income. I did not edit it, right? I did not edit the aggregation. So that's why it's showing me the sum. So what I could do is I could edit this here in this visualization, right? So this is called focus mode. This is visualization in a focus mode. When I open this, well, it's not the appearance properties, but that's the properties that shows you how it looks, right? So summarize, and I'm gonna do the average. I want to see the average income, right? There we go. So this is an average income, and I wanted to see something else related to the state, perhaps, right? So this is what we can do here. We can copy visualizations here. I can take this guy here, or actually, let's do this. I selected this here. Take a look at this. There is something called duplicate, right? It's here, duplicate. I'm gonna go duplicate. Now here, what I'll try to do is, let's hope it works. I can do cut and paste, hopefully, right? If that does not work, then, oh, look, sometimes it works if you just drag and drop on the second tab. See this? I took a copy and I did drag and drop on a second tab. So it's here. See this? I was able to drag and drop the visualization to the second tab. Let's keep it here. I know it's the same visualization, but I want to keep it for the purposes of the filter demonstration. Okay. So now what's happening here? I have these 4 visualizations on this tab. So now let's see what's going to happen. Notice these visualizations are connected. When I select one state in here, all the rest of the visualizations get adjusted based on my selection. See this? It's just showing for Missouri. Here, it also gets adjusted. And why does it happen? Because the visualizations are linked. I can select one data point and the same data point will be selected across. Where is this defined? See here, this is called view widget connections. They all belong to the same group. What you could do is that you could ungroup, right? So for example, I select this visualization and I want it to be the standalone. I can do break link. That's it. So now, regardless of what state I select here, the same state will not be selected in this visualizations because I broke the link, right? So here, let's turn off the selection. So see here, I can select a different state here, like St. Louis. This visualization is not getting updated because I broke the link. On the other hand, if I select a different state in here, like LA, this or Iowa, these visualizations get updated to Iowa. This one is not, right? What I could also do is I'm going to come here and I do view connections and I select this one here. And instead of breaking it off by itself, I can say add to existing connection, and this is going to be number 2. This is number 2. So now anything that I do here, anything that I select here, right, it's going to be selected in this visualization. See this? That visualization does not get filtered, but this one does because I broke them. I link these two and I link to the top. Sometimes it's very useful for comparison. For example, you can select one state for the visualization at the bottom and the other state for visualization at the top, right? So that could be useful for that. All right, so now what we'll do is we're going to undo what I just did. And there are multiple ways to undo. I can click here and I can just say add to existing group. And I'm going to add this to the forest group. And I'm going to do the same thing in here. Right? I'm going to add this. I'm going to add this to the forest group. Add to existing group, and I'm going to do add to the forest, right? Ultimately, I could just do this undo, okay? Now, you see this little asterisk here? It means that my work is not saved. I need to save the work because if there is a power outage or anything like that, I'm going to lose the work that I did, right? So I need to unselect this, right? So here it is. I've got 2 tabs. Now what we're going to do, we're going to look at the filters. It's a different filters. That's a filter that's going to filter data across visualization. It's not the type of filters that we looked at last time. All right. So just for the purpose of the demonstration, see this, we have something with a state here, and we have something with a state on this tab. So what I'll do is I'm going to add the filter on a state. And to do this, see this here are my data fields. What I need to do is I need to find the state here, or I can use the state code. And I'm going to drag and drop here. So with this, when I select the state, I should see both tabs of the dashboard filtered because this is defined in the all tabs. So see, this is my first tab. The visualization got filtered and well, this could take a while to adjust, but it's showing me only the tabs that I selected. Well, if there is data for those states that I selected. Now I'm going to go back to the second tab. And do you see this? You see the same adjustment in here. Why did it happen? Well, it's because I defined the filter for all tabs. See this? You see this in the all tab slot. Now we're going to do something different. Well, I'm going to click here and I'm going to select delete filter. Delete filter will delete the filter. Clear filter will delete the criteria specified in the filter. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to drag and drop this here. and I'm gonna select just these three states. Click OK. Well, what's gonna happen now? These two visualizations got adjusted, right? On the other hand, the visualizations on the first tab are not. They are not. What filter I see here is because I selected the data point. I'm gonna unselect this. See this? These visualizations are not filtered because I did not define the filter for all tabs. I defined the filter only for this tab, right? I defined the filter only for the second tab. And here it just shows me that I selected three values, okay? So I hope it makes sense. So now what I'll do is I'm going to delete this filter. So I've got two tabs. Let's go back to the slides. I want to make sure that, few things that I did not cover, and I have a very detailed video on that. So here's a pie chart. I have a very detailed video on text boxes and on the videos. So see here, this is my tab 2. What you could do is this. You could go in here. This is a widget, and this is your text, right? And then you type your text here. Okay, I love data 610. That's true. But see here, this is your text, and you can edit the text properties, right? So I'll click here, properties, and there are a variety of properties such as size, appearance, and etc. If you want to see the border, if you want to see the fill color, etc. But one thing to keep in mind that you want to make sure that your text is readable. So the background color that you select for your well, you need to make sure that the text that you put is readable, right? So you want to select the background color accordingly. Like I'm not gonna select the black background color and black color of the text, right? I want to make sure that it's readable. That's something to bear in mind for your submission. And similar to what you saw before, you could see the data being visualized. So if you click, you have to click on the visualization and you can see the data that's being visualized. That's another similarity, right? And then for the images, there is a question that I get every semester on images. You cannot copy and paste the image directly. What you can do is you have to paste the image URL, right? Like for example, if you go to Google and if you search for an image, something like a dog, right? And you're gonna go search images, and every image should have its what? URL. It should end with something like a JPG, right? So probably you would need to open link in the new tab, but in here there should be a way to copy the image URL. It's supposed to end with a JPG, right? So you can do something like image URL. Well, it won't let me do it here, but in general, let's see, copy, you can do copy link address, or you can do this copy image address. Sorry guys, copy image address. Do you see this? Right? And then it's supposed to show, when I put this, it's supposed to show the actual image, okay? See this? Make sure that this address ends with JPG or PNG, something like that. So now I see my dog image here. This is a question that I get from people every semester, okay? And then you need to rescale this. You may need to rescale this, okay? Oh, and you can rotate it. You can do a lot with this. I don't like what I just did, so I'm gonna just do undo, right? You could also add the shapes, and you could add links to the web pages and links to the media. Okay, so I'm gonna let you watch the video on that, and you can add shapes, okay? Now, so this is the text. Let's go back to our presentation here. Oops. Not sure what's going on. Okay, sometimes things a little bit don't cooperate. It's a PowerPoint. Okay. Now, next, oops, what happened? Okay, no problem. I know where I saved it, and it's In the worst case scenario, I know where to get the slides, huh? So we talked about this top dashboard. We talked about this thing here, the properties. We talked about text, right? We talked about the images. We talked about links among visualizations, right? Now we're gonna go to this. We're gonna jump to stories, but take a look at this here. In here there is no timeline, right? I cannot specify when my visualizations are visible, right? I just cannot do this, and then I cannot jump between tabs. I cannot make this thing play automatically, right? I physically have to switch from tab to tab, right? There is no way to define the animation. So this leads us to what? To the stories. Let's set the stage for the stories. Let's go ahead and close this guy here. So for you, I prepared something little different. So let's close this. I prepared a little dashboard for you that I'm going to use now to create the story. I'll show you. So here I'm gonna go to the my content, and this is called car insurance dashboard. That's what I called it. I'm gonna go ahead and open it. So what I did was I prepared this little dashboard for you, and right now I'm in the view mode. I cannot edit this, right? Sometimes you might be wondering why this is not editable. It's because right now I'm in the view mode. I would need to click here to get into the edit mode, right? So when you are in the edit mode, this pencil here is highlighted. When you're in a not edit mode, this pencil is not highlighted. But what I did here, this is a title page, and I added an image here, right? So here I'm looking at the average total claim amount, right? And then here I'm looking at the claims distribution, and this is by the state, by vehicle classes, percentage of claims. I'm looking at that here. And then here is my decision tree model from assignment 3. Let's assume I did it. And this is averages as a claim data by location. So I have this. Now, you want to make sure that your dashboard is totally ready, completely ready before you convert it to the story. There is a way. So for the story, it can be created from scratch, or there is a little cheat here. You can create the story from the dashboard. And I believe I also created a detailed video on how to do that. Okay, so let's take a look at this. You have a save option, but you also see this save as a story. But again, when you do this, you want to make sure that your dashboard is ready, because after this, any change that you make to your dashboard won't be visible in the story. See that? So let's go ahead and save it as a story. And what am I going to do? For right now, let's select the slideshow, right? And I believe what I did was I spelled out, I have it spelled out for you. So what's a story? This is basically the overtime narrative, right? And well, the story has several templates. The ones that I'm going to use now, the slideshow, this is similar to what? To PowerPoint narrative. And the story lets you present insights. You may add images, you may add different shapes, and you may specify the transition. I'm gonna select the slideshow for right now. I'm gonna do select. Now, where do I need to save it? In my content. By default, the story name is gonna be the dashboard name prefixed with the word story, okay? But you can change your name and change name anytime. I'm gonna save it, and this option is open story after saving. Sure, why not? Okay, I'm gonna go save. Oh, confirm or replace. Okay, let's just do replace. Well, I received that pop-up because I already had the story with the same name. So that's the reason I received it. Do you remember that I had what? 5 tabs, right? My story had 5 tabs. So my dashboard had 5 tabs. So each tab in my dashboard will correspond to the scene in the story. So see this, when I go to this edit mode, right? Well, this is what I see. My story has 4 scenes. Each tab in the dashboard is a scene in a story. Okay. So here, this is the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and the fifth one. I've got 5, right? Well, I'm not saying here that I cannot add another one. I can add another one if I want to, right? I can do this. I can go and then select the template that I want, right? And I can add a new one and I can edit it. I can add visualizations to it and etc. Okay, and I'll talk about the timeline too. So here, right? And if I wanted to, I can add an image and I can add the visualizations, right? I can add the chart. So do you remember these pins here? If I want it, I can just go drag and drop and it's gonna add it here. Oops. Yes, we have to wait for it to reload, but any case, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. Well, I would have to look into it, but in any ways, oh, okay, I see what the problem is. The problem is that this pin visualization that I'm looking at, it's associated with a different version. It's associated with a different version of the data module. So this is why I cannot add this. So what you would have to do is this. You would have to go back to your dashboard. So this is a dashboard, right? You can add pins in here. So if I like this visualization, first of all, Elena forgot she has to be in the edit mode, right? And I can click, see this? I can add this to the pins too, right? So there should be an option. Oh, it's in here. See this thing here? There is an option to add this to the pins. Right here it is. See this is a pin. I can add this to the pin. It's Protestant pin. Now I can go back to my story, right? But you saw the arrow, right? So be familiar that error message means that you are using a different copy of the data module. So you cannot just go ahead and reuse. So here it is. This should work because I'm using the same data source here. Even if the data is the same, right? If it's a different copy of the file, then it's a different data module. That's how it treats. It's not looking at the name, it's looking at some kind of unique identifier associated with that data module. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. And this is very similar to dashboards. I can define the filter. I can apply filter to all scene, and I can apply the filter to this scene, right? So I'll let you guys play around with this, right? So here, I'm gonna show you this, but I'm gonna use the different scene to show you this, because here I only have one object. So let's look at this, the second one, second scene. What you could do is you can define when objects appear and disappear when you preview the story. So each scene has a timeline, right? So if I open this, if I take this and open this, see this? I'm opening up the scene timelines. This scene has 4 objects, right? 4 visualization. For each object, I need to specify, I can specify when I see it. So here, my scene on by default, it's 5-second long. What you could do is you could take this and you can drag and drop. So that means here, I want this object to appear on the second, right? So now I don't see it, but when I preview it, I will see it starting from the from second 2. This one here, I want to show just for the first 3 seconds, right? Then I want this to be longer than 5 seconds. So I just take this and drag and drop. This would make it longer than 5 seconds, right? So now let's go ahead and minimize this. And see here, I can close this here. So see this, you have 4 elements right here, 4 pieces. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna preview this thing. Watch what's gonna happen. Now this will appear. This guy disappear. All 3 disappear. Appears only 1 guy. Well, because I only specified what I extended the timeline, right? I extended the scene duration. If you look at this here, see this? But I only extended for this visualization. I did not extend it for all visualizations, okay? Now, hopefully that makes sense. And here, this is how you minimize it. Another way to minimize it. This is how you navigate between the scenes. And you might keep on adding scenes, right? And you may keep on changing. You may keep on changing scene layout if you need to. You may duplicate the scene, right? You may rename the scene. But what happened was the name was inherited from your dashboard. But from now on, any change that I make to my dashboard, it won't be visible here, right? It won't be visible unless I override it. And you can also add text here, and you can add images. Well, you can copy and paste the image. You can do what I did with the dog earlier. Okay, so now let's go back. So here I'm just spelling out. This is one way to create it from scratch. It would just click on new and click on story. I'll show you that too. But well, here I spelled out the different transition styles for you. When you use a slideshow, each thing has it is on a different canvas. When you use a guided journey, you will use in the same canvas, and I'll show you. And for regardless of what you use, you may specify when objects appear. You may specify how long each scene lasts. You might add, and you might do add animations, apply filters, and you may customize the transitions between the scenes. And of course, now I showed you how to cheat, but you could also create a brand new dashboard from scratch. Okay, you can do it from scratch, brand new dashboard. And I'll show you that too. But this is just, I'm just spelling you out the interface, how to open the timeline and etc. and how to add the new scene and how to test the scene, right? You just click on that little play button, right? Here, I'm just showing you the timeline, exactly what I just demoed. When each object appears, when each object disappears. And here, I just showed you how I exported it as a story, right? So you export it, you do save it as a story, and you select the template, right? I'm gonna look at the guided journey too, but here I just showed you that each tab in your dashboard will become a scene in a story. That's what you're gonna do for your assignment 4. For assignment 5, it's going to be your team's decision how you're gonna do it. So now let's go back. We're not ready for the samples yet. I'm gonna show you different options you have. So here, these are the properties. I want to look at the properties of the dashboard, right? Of the story. Okay, so I did the slideshow, but I want to do the guided journey, and I can select any layout that I would like. Well, I like this one. Now I have a different options here. On my very first slide here, on the very first here, I want to see all of them. This here, the first one, will show all of them, right? All of these things. Then here, see this? This is going to be the title, right? This is the average total. This is what I called it, right? So, and here, I want to check show all things at the start and show all things at the end. I have a choice to do, right? To check this. So this one, don't worry about this. Canvas, don't worry about this, but you could adjust the canvas size if you wanted to, right? So now what we'll do, is, let's see what's going to happen. First of all, first thing first, you have to save it. Now I'm going to the view mode, right? Remember, you have two modes. You have a view mode and you have an edit mode. And I want to start from the very first scene, and I'm gonna do the play. So see this? I'm gonna hit play. Do you see what's gonna happen to the canvas? It's using the same canvas and it's gonna slide. Well, I should have selected to play all scenes. So see this, there is an option, play all scenes. See this, I should have selected this. Then it's gonna go to the next scene after this scene is finished. And this is where I defined when things are visible. So you see this? And this is another one, and etc. Okay. Now, here I selected the guided journey. I'm gonna switch back to the other ones that we used before. So, but first of all, I have to be in the edit mode. I cannot edit anything if I'm in the view mode. And I'm gonna select again the slideshow, because the slideshow has something that I have not showed you before, the transition. See this? You can select the sweep transition. Okay, then you save this, go here. So this is where you are right now, and I'm gonna do the play. So see this one, 5 seconds elapse. How is it gonna show the next one? See? So you can specify the transition. This is only for this type, right? Not for the guided journey, but for this type. Okay. Now we talked about this, but now I have to show you how to create the story from scratch, from the beginning. Let's go ahead, let's close this out, and let's close this out. Okay, so here it is, you have a new, and in the new, you can specify that you want a story, right? New story. Here you have to select what you want to do. You want a slideshow, or you want to do the guided journey, right? Perhaps I want the slideshow. I'm gonna click on create. Next thing what you need to do, take a look at it here. There's no data, right? Because what you need to do is you need to select the data source. You have to explicitly select the data source. And I want to use the claims and weather data module. Well, so see here, this is my data source. And I can just go ahead and add visualizations like I showed you earlier, right? So this, I'm going to add in the second one, and I can choose the template that I want to add, right? But I just selected this template. So you can add text, you can add visualizations from pins, anything you like, right? But if you do it from the new add the stories, and you have to explicitly specify what data source you use, okay? I'm gonna close this and I'm gonna save it since I did not really do anything. So this is closed without saving, right? So that's gonna take us to, oh, first I'm gonna show you some samples, and then we're gonna talk about everybody's favorite topic, the group. Yes, you need to know how to work in a group. It's an excellent chance to practice. Okay, so if we look at this here, there's the team content. And last time I mentioned that you've got some samples that were pre-installed with the software. So you look here, dashboards, these are the samples. Well, this is not something that you will be submitting for grading, but this is something that for you to get an idea on what you can do, right? So here, I just selected this is what you can do, and notice that it took a little bit of time to load because whoever created it had a lot of stuff going on, right? So this is the dashboard, and you can actually preview it, right? You can do the interactions, like see here. You will not be able to modify it because this is in a shared area, right? If you want to play around with this, you need to, first of all, let's close this. Close without saving, but if you try to save, you would have gotten an error. what you would need to do is you would need to go to the team content, and perhaps I want this one, right? So you would need to do this. You would have to select copy or move, and then, well, you have to select your personal area and you have to do copy to, okay? Not move to, but copy to. You will not be able to move because behind the scene, what move does, it deletes the file from its original location, but you don't have the delete privileges, right? You don't have the write permission for this folder. What you have is that you have a run permission. What run is that it lets you read, and it also lets you explore some of the stories. It lets you preview the stories. That's what run does. All right. But you don't have a permission to write it here. But you've got the simple stories to look at, because sometimes you're really stuck, you're out of ideas, and you can see what can be done. Okay. So this is the samples. And by the way, your account has the same permissions as this demo account. Okay. And now we're going to look at everybody's favorite topic, the teamwork. Okay. So this is going to happen for assignment 5. This is a group work. And somewhere towards the end of week 9, during week 9 of the course, your instructor will send me the group assignments in Leo. So, and you're gonna be assigned, you and your teamwork will be given the designated folder where you're gonna be saving all your work that you do as a group. The data that you save in your team folder will be visible only to you, right? And then also your instructor, TA Abel, and myself, since I have administrative privilege, I can see the team folders, all team folders, not your personal area unless I'm logged in as you. I can see the team folders, all semesters, okay? Now, because all of the visualizations depend on a data source, as an approach I would suggest you do is this. Each team, make sure that you have a team leader, right? Somebody who will lead the team. And you have the data choices. It's in here. If you look at this data for data 610 assignment, this is assignment 5 options, and you have 5 data sets to choose from. As a team, please choose one of those 5 data sets. Then you want to select the team leader. What the team leader will do is will copy this data set to your team folder. And what is a team folder? How do you access it? So when the time comes in the team content, you're going to see another folder, right? So how do you get to it? Well, first of all, this here, it shows me the location that I'm looking at right now, right? So I want to get here, and I want to get here. So this is, take a look at this. This is a folder that you cannot see right now, but you will see it once the groups are configured, once you are assigned to the group. The groups have been, the permissions have been configured, but you have not been assigned to the group yet. But take a look at this. So assignment 5 group work. This is a semester. Your current enrollment semester is spring, right? And there is also the video that shows how to access. One difference that the video was for the spring 2021, but the same applies. Pretend it is 2022. So see here, I click here. This is my team folder. Make sure that you do not see anything that, for example, suppose that you're a member of team 1, you don't want to see the folders for team 2, team 3, and etc. You don't want to see the folders for another session. And your session name, you can see it in Leo at the top. It says the course name and the session name. Well, I'll tell it easier. If you have Professor Moreto, then your session probably 9040 or something. Well, it depends on the instructor you have. Well, anyway, so there are 2 sessions right now at the moment, and then the 3rd session just started, but you know your session, right? So this is your folder. You're gonna click on this and see this. This is the data that I saved into this folder. This is the data that I saved into this folder before this. So anything that your team saves here, will be visible to all team members. Just for the purpose of this demonstration, there are 3 members in this team. Demo 1, Demo 2, Demo 3. There are 3 users, Demo 3 and Demo 2, right? And Demo. They have access to this folder right now. It's going to be changed. By the time you are using this, by the time you start working in a group, I'm going to remove the demo users from this group. But for right now, I had to do that just because to do this demonstration. So here it is. So what you're going to do, your team leader is going to go to this data sets here. See, this is assignment 5 data. Just for example, suppose that the team wants to work on the cars data. What I have to do is I'm going to click here and I have to select copy or remove. And what I'm going to do now, instead of selecting the personal area, I want to be on the teams area. And let's navigate away to the team content. I'm going to go here, assignment 5 group work. This is the enrollment semester, your group. And I will say what? Copy to. I cannot move to, I can only copy to. Now, let's go back and verify here. I'm going back. So this is assignment 5 group work. This is the enrollment semester, your group. Here it is, this is cars.csv. Now what I can do, I want to save this. I want to create the data module, okay? Because see, this is the data set. You want to create the data module, I'm gonna do that, right? And let's see what's gonna happen, what I need to do. I need to save it, right? So, and you're gonna go save as. Now this time, where are you gonna save it? You're not saving it to the to your content. You're saving it. This is a team content. Assignment 5 group work, enrollment semester, your folder. Okay, and I want to save it as cars data module. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna click on save. See this? Okay, so now I'm gonna close this. And you want to get into the habit. Any files that you're working on as a group, close before you exit, because even if you're exited, you still have the file open if you did not close it. You still have a lock on the file. This could lead to problems because you can share the file, but more than only one person may work on a file at the same time. So keep that in mind, right? And you also want to make sure that all of you are working from the same copy of the file. Do you remember I got an error earlier? I got an error message earlier when I tried to reuse the pin. It's because I did not use the same copy of the file to create my pin. Okay, so just remember that, right? And also you always want to keep making copies. Well, because you know that there is a dependency between the data and between dashboards. If you delete the data, the dashboard will become invalid. And trust me, it happened. We had a team where a team member deleted the data by accident, and it happened when the assignment was due. So please, please, please be careful before you delete anything, okay? Because there is a dependency. Each data set has, each copy of the data has a unique number that's associated with it. Once you delete it, that's it. You no longer be able to work with, you won't be able to work with anything where you use the data as a data source. Even if you upload the file with the same name. Nope, it's not gonna fix it. There's no way to fix it. So be careful before you delete anything. So now I mentioned that this is a team folder. How do I know that it's a team folder? Well, take a look at this. Now what I'll do is I'm logged in as a demo, right? So see this, if I look at it, I can let's go ahead and assign out now. And I'm gonna log in as another user, right? I'm gonna log in as another user who is a member of the same group. Okay, so let's see. This is a different user, a teammate. So here we go. This is a teammate. A teammate has different my content, and the teammate is gonna have a different well, he should have the same team content. And do you know why? Because they are in the same group. Look, this is assignment 5 group work, right? I'm gonna go, this is my enrollment semester, and this is my team, we're in the same team. I just created cars data module as another team member. I can go in here and I should be able to access it, okay? On the other hand, I cannot access anything that my team member has saved in his or her personal folder. I can only access what was saved in the team folder, right? And I can use it to create visualizations, but just to be safe, save the work to your team folder. Save all team work to your team folder. And you can make a copy for yourself just as a backup, okay? But please, please, please be careful, okay? Please promise me that you're gonna be careful. So Caesar, this is your username, and somewhere here, if you look at my preferences somewhere, it should show you, oh, it should show you in advance, somewhere it should show you, oh, here it is, groups and roles. Well, Caesar, you look at the view details, and well, this shows you which groups are you a member of. So sometimes you may think, I don't see my team. So this is one way to check. And you can see that this user is part of the all authenticated user. So this is anyone. This just group lets you to access the system, right? This group is the group that you are assigned for the group project, and everyone, this is everyone in data 610. Do you remember a couple of you had issues when account was created? You could not see the anything in the team folder. It was just a glitch. What I had to do is I had to add you to the everyone group. So the files that you see in the team folder, they are controlled by the group access, all right? And this is the role, analytics users define the role of what you can do in your my content, right? So that's your profile. Because see, for each group, it's somewhere else, I have it defined what you can do inside the group folder. I have it defined what you can do inside your folder. So that was taken care of. So everyone who belongs to the same group will have the same permissions on your group folder, okay? So basically, the way it works is that I define the groups and the permissions on a group, right? Then I assign your group to the folder, and you have a right access only to your group, only to your group folder. If for some unknown reason you are unable to save the file in your folder, and if it's not just you, if it applies to the whole team, then you want to create a ticket, and this is a no-brainer to fix. Trust me, for me, this is a no-brainer to fix, okay? But you should have the right permission on your folder. You should be able to save files. So please, please, as soon as you are assigned to the group, decide which data you want to work with, and try to save a copy of the file to your group folder. We don't want any surprises, right? The assignment is due and you don't want to say, hey, I'm in the wrong group or something like that, right? So you want to make sure that you see the correct group. If not, it's a no-brainer. I can fix it very quickly in 5 minutes. Okay. Now, this is just for the troubleshooting purposes. And your instructor will have a lot of groups because I let instructors see all groups for the sessions that they teach. Okay. Now, this was just your preferences where you can see your group membership. Okay. Now let's go back. And so this is a group work. And here I showed you how to access your team folder, right? So this is a steps to copy data. You may copy stuff from your personal folder as well, right? But here I showed you how to copy the data set because you want to be working from your team designated area, right? This is very set. If you delete something, you cannot undo it and you're gonna lose everything. And that's a screenshot of an error that you see. Then neither Yelena, nor Abel, nor your instructor, nor your classmates can do anything to help. Unfortunately, if you delete something, there is no recycle bin. It's going to be gone. So be very, very careful, okay? Sometimes you may see this error. Well, it happens when you have the file that was recently opened by you, and your teammate deleted the file. The file was located in a team folder. The file is on your recents. It was on your recents at the time when your teammate deleted, and no access is an error that you're gonna get when the teammate deleted the file. Well, I wanted you to have a screenshot of this error because that's a common error that I see people getting, okay? This is just a bonus example, and I have a video about this. This is a calculation, and you can define the calculations by yourself just by writing the simple case statement, okay? This is just a case statement. You can write complicated code. If you want to do something like here, I have income, and I want to classify income based on a specified, based on specified ranges, right? So I just wrote my own case statement, and I have a video about this, okay? So hopefully this will help, right? Now I wanted to see if there are any questions. Are there any questions? No, because I want to make sure that you guys have a solid understanding. There are a lot of concepts that were covered tonight. Not as many as your last session, but it's quite a lot. We covered quite a lot today, right? So let's go ahead and ask questions. Oh, just realized I need to show you something else, guys. For your last assignment, you will need to do recording. You would have to record the presentation. It's going to be up to you whether one person speaks or three of you speak. One option to do is to use Zoom accounts or a free Zoom. You may get the Zoom account for free. But the only limit is that you are limited to 40 minutes, but nobody's presentation is going to be 40 minutes long. If it is 40 minutes long, then there is a problem. Your presentation has to be about 10 to 15 minutes, and you can use Zoom. But if you use Zoom, I wanted to show you where the recording is going to be at. So here is my Zoom account. And in your Zoom account, this is what you'll do. You're going to go to recordings, and you're going to share the link to your recordings with instructor. You need to submit the link, right? So when you click on a, for example, this is an example. This is a yesterday's session I did in a data 650 course. So when you click on the share, right, you can get the link to the recording, and you can share it with instructor, right? Or you can do this. You can try, let's see, copy sharing information, and then it's gonna be, oh, here it is. See, here it is. This is a link. Well, you're gonna have to share this link with a professor. When you submit the assignment, you have to share this link with your professor, right? And the paper. There are going to be 2 deliverables for the assignment 5. 2, remember, 2. Everybody knows how to count until 2, right? So 2 things. You're gonna be submitting the recording of the presentation, and you're gonna be submitting your paper, okay? So this is where this is located in the Zoom. You're gonna have the Zoom account for free Zoom account, but Zoom account has a tab called recordings. And this is where you find your recordings that you create. And you're gonna give the link to instructor to watch your recording, okay? This is for the assignment 5. And it's going to be your choice whether one person speaks or multiple people speak. But if multiple, you want to watch out the transitions. You want to make sure the transitions are smooth, and you want to select who will share the screen, okay? You want to select who will share the screen. So more likely you want to have the team leader decide how to split the work. So one person in the team has to be the team leader. That's a person who will upload the data to the team folder. Let me see. Okay, would we all just join a Zoom call? Oh, well, this is going to be your team decision, whether all of you join the call to save the recording or just one person. It will be your decision how you do it, unless the professor explicitly asks that everybody has to speak. But somewhere you need to divide the task. Who is responsible for which part of the assignment, right? But you can take turns, but you need to discuss who will share the screen. It's better if the person who is doing the recording is sharing the screen, right? So one of you is gonna use Zoom to invite all participants, right? All of your team members, and you're gonna do the recording. Either one of you speaks or several of you take turns. It's gonna be up to you unless instructor tells you otherwise, okay? So yeah. Will our team contact? Yeah, sure. You will know the contacts. This is what's gonna happen. Your instructor will tell you who your team member is, right? But in a classroom, you have a page. You have a page in the classroom where you can see each other's contact information, right? Yeah, you can get the phone numbers in there. But Zoom, no, you won't be able to use the UMGC Zoom account, but you can create a free account. Zoom, you can create a free account. The free account that you can create, there is a limit, 40 minutes limit on a session, but nobody is gonna have the recording, which is more than 40 minutes. The recording has to be 10 to 15 minutes, right? You can use Zoom or you can use another recording software, absolutely. You have access to Microsoft Teams. Yes, you do. As a student, you have access to Microsoft Teams. You can do that. Any software that you would like to use. But then you have to have a way to share the link with your instructor. Unless you want to upload your recording to YouTube, I believe up to 15 minutes, it's always free, but then more than 15 minutes, it's also free, but there's some agreement that you need to do. Yes, you can get the phone numbers in the discussion. That's excellent. There are multiple ways you can exchange the phone numbers. You're gonna know who is in your group, right? And then you're gonna have the group discussion area in the classroom too, right? So this is where you can exchange numbers. But guys, you have access to that page, right? There is a page in the classroom where it lists everyone who is enrolled in the session, and it shows the emails, etc. Right? Do you have this? I think you have access to it as a student. Yeah. Oh, how to get to that page? Okay, I can show you. So what I have to do is I need to go to your classroom. Yes, guys, you're right. I realize that. I realize that this is your first, it might be your first course, right? So this is what I'm looking right now. It's a learning management system, right? For you, it's going to be a little easier because, well, what? Okay, so this is semester 2, 1, 1, 2, right? Okay, so what I need to do is I need to go back to your session, right? And your session is this, right? This is your session. Okay, so here we go. So this is one of your sessions, right? And what I'll do is I'm going to change my view as a learner. I'm going to change my view as a learner, okay? I'm now seeing this session as a learner, as you. Well, so here it is, my tools, and you have this class list, right? Oops, my tools, class list, okay? Well, you go to my tools, class list. So this is where you see the class members, right? And I thought there is a way to email. See this? When you click here, you can do email. And this way, you're going to send the email to your classmate in question. Okay? So this is where it is in the classroom. All right? See here, you can contact your instructor as well. here and then do the email. Or also, you see this little dot? It means that this person currently is online, right? And you can also you can also text that person. So see here, you can do instant message to that person. There we go, okay? Well, what else you could do here is, well, since we are now in the classroom, I wanted to show you something else that you could do. It will be much easier for you. So see here, I'm going to your content and I'm going to, I believe it's in week 6. Oh, here it is. So here, this is a page where you see the dataset descriptions for the weeks 3 and 4, right? Sometimes as the semester goes by, you don't remember where things got saved, right? You don't remember where things are located, but this is what you can do. See this little thing here? You can add a bookmark. This is not in a Leo training, but you can do here, you can add the bookmark. So now when you go to the course homepage, course homepage, right, you should be able to see everything that you bookmarked. Content. You go to content and you should be able to see this. This is my bookmarks. This is the page that I just bookmarked. You can add bookmarks to the content in Leo, okay? So just know that you can add bookmarks. Another thing that you can do is, let's go back to the content, and you remember that somewhere there were dataset description. So when you go in here, when you type something like data, and do enter, it will show you all locations in the course content where you have something, where you have the word data, right? Like if I put data choices here, it's going to give me all location in the content where you have data choices. See, this content is searchable. If you don't remember where something is located, you can search the course content here. Or if it's a page that you use a lot within the content, you can bookmark that page, okay? So just remember it. They don't show you this in a Leo training, but I'm showing you that, okay? Try to use the functionality here as much as possible. And then what you also got here, since I'm here, when you do to your settings, when you do to the settings, there is a notification setting here. And what you could do is you can choose to receive notification when announcements are posted. So see this? When your announcement was made available, you can receive an email. So that way, you're not going to miss important instructor announcements. See? You can choose that you want to receive SMS or an email, or things like when your teacher posts the assignment grade, you can choose to receive the email. This is when the graded item was released. So when she posts the grade, he or she, you can choose to receive an email. But to make sure that you don't miss important announcement, I would recommend that you guys do that. Okay? Make sense? I hope, guys, this is helpful. Since I was here, I decided to show you. So those are the things that are not explicitly discussed in a system training because they show you the most important stuff, right? It's a lot to show, okay? So do we have, let me see, let me look at the chat. I want to make sure, so I showed you how to get to that, but let's see, I want to make sure that I got all the question. Yes, so basically one person creates a free Zoom account. It's in the Zoom, trying to remember it. Something like Zoom. There is a page where you can create the Zoom account. Well, here, well, I can just type it, register for Zoom, right? There should be a link here somewhere. There should be a link where you can just sign up for the Zoom, okay? Oh, here it is, Zoom US, sign up Zoom US. And you're going to sign up for a free account. One person in your team is enough, right? And you can do the recording. You can record, okay? And you're gonna invite all your team members. So yes, you will be able to see the content. You don't have access for your UMGC Zoom, neither does your instructor. Only the TAs do. Yes, you can exchange phone numbers in the discussion session, wherever you are comfortable with. And you may use any other software. And I showed you how to get the information, right? And I'm unable to show you how to access your team now in the classroom because the teams have not been set up yet, okay? When they're set up, there will be more instructions for that. And it's gonna happen at the end of week 9, okay? Does it make sense? I hope it makes sense for everyone. If it doesn't, something doesn't make sense, I'm still here, let me know. Please, and please ask the questions. I like when people ask questions, okay? So as a bonus, I showed you how to bookmark pages, right? I showed you how to search the content if you don't remember. Okay, if you don't remember where you saw something in the content, you can just run search. Very easy, right? So yeah, anything else, guys? Just tell me any questions. Let me know any questions now. No? Okay, so if there are no questions, then I'm going to stop the recording and I'm gonna give you this recording to your instructor, okay? And I'm gonna give the slides to your instructor as well, okay? So I'm gonna end the recording and I'm gonna stop sharing. And I would like to, guys, thank you all for attending the session, okay? So I'm gonna do stop recording.